Hey, everybody. Welcome to Open the Gates. I'm your host, Matt Burke, and tonight we're going to be having on Raiden Radio. He's going to be talking about his book, How to Die 2 and Norlene. So if you guys could give a warm welcome to Raiden Radio, that would be awesome. What's up, Raiden?
Hey, was that Gojira in the intro?
No, that's actually my band.
Oh, wow.
I love you some Gojira, though.
yeah. The singer really sounded like the guy from Gojira.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. That's me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're pretty fun band. Yeah, man, how's your day going? Or night?
Doing good, man. Yeah, I was gonna say, just kind of plugging away. I feels like I only got off work a couple hours ago, but yeah, good. It's good night. Good night.
You working on some comics or something after?
No, I mean, I meant my day job. I pretty much did my day job, and then it was time to make spaghetti.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've made plenty of spaghetti. I used to be known as a spaghetti king. My wife, my son, man, she just loved eating spaghetti. Yeah, man, I'm pretty good at it. I get the pot nice and hot. I throw my ground what is it? I keep thinking it's Jimmy Dean. Yeah, I guess it is Jimmy Dean. The ground pork, I throw that in there and heat that up, put the sauce in, and it's good to go, man.
Always cook your sauce.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing sadder than a plate of spaghetti and somebody just dumps sauce all over it.
Right. I throw spaghetti in there now, I throw spinach in there now too, man. We'll throw the whole box of the spring mix just to get the kids some more of the vitamins and whatnot.
More vitamins.
And a little bit of that. I do the Texas toast 5 cheese.
Oh yeah,
really good. It's not really good for you, but yeah, kids they love the spaghetti, Parmesan cheese. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's been having some crazy weather. There's like another hurricane we were talking about backstage, I believe.
Oh right? Yeah.
It's coming around the mountain, right?
Well, it's funny, with my job, I have to be watching like the live streams of the hurricane coverage. Wow. And it was like Cat 3 incoming, all hands on deck. And then like a couple hours in, it goes to Cat 2, then Cat 1, and then a tropical storm. And I'm watching a live stream of like 4 webcams pointed at different beaches in Florida, and nothing is happening. So,
oh wow,
whole lot of nothing.
Oh man, whole lot of nada, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's cool.
I mean, it's good. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, 150,000 people are without power, but other than that, there's nothing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's But I remember seeing your first campaign, How to Die. I don't know, maybe about a year ago, maybe a year or two ago. My brain gets kind of foggy. It's
sure
sometimes. But I remember this character on the cover with these long like blade arms. I just thought that looked pretty fucking metal. That looks cool. Yeah, now you're on your second book, man. And from my understanding, you also have a YouTube channel too, which I haven't checked out. So this is my first time actually, cordially meeting you. So like me, maybe if there's other guests or other people watching the show, maybe you could tell them and myself a little bit about yourself, if you'd like.
Sure. So on the comic end of it, How to Die is my second IP. My first one was called Eudaimonia. It was like a World War I series.
Ooh, nice.
Then I moved into Noirlum, which is a noir detective like murder mystery series set in 1920s Harlem. So it's a little bit more blue collar 1920s. Like a little bit more of the like the urban neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm currently working on my fourth IP. It's going to be called The Rough and Tumble. It's going to be 1880s, like cowboys are kind of aging out, and gangsters are kind of coming in. So it's going to be kind of a crossover of like Unforgiven and Peaky Blinders.
Nice. With
cowboys fighting like the early Italian gangsters in the American Midwest.
That sounds fucking awesome. Like that sounds dope, dude. Like, and when you say that too, it kind of reminds me of Robert E. Howard a little bit. This whole And I mean, you probably know him, maybe not. I don't know, like where he grew up, the town, and that
yeah.
You know, that's why Conan hates technology so much, because it's they had I believe the oil refineries were coming into his town in Texas. They were building up the technology, pumping everything in. He still had cowboys there, so you have the Wild West, but with technology. But oh man, like that just pops in my head, and that
yeah.
Midwest.
And I think a little later, Jack Kirby, I think when he was a kid, he had a lot of run-ins with some wise guys.
Oh, that's crazy, dude. And it also makes me think of like that Bruce Willis movie Last Man Standing. I don't know if you remember that, but it's got the Western town with the gangsters in it, and I love that movie. I'd only seen it once, and I'm like, I fucking love this movie. I remember seeing the preview as a kid, but I just never got around to it until probably the last 5 years watching it, and just like, wow, this is. But yeah, man, that sounds really cool. I can imagine, the Cowboys having shootouts with them, and the way they deal with stuff, and that's money right there.
I mean, my writing is really like a lot of my writing kind of boils down to competing philosophies, and when I think of like cowboys and gangsters, I think about gangsters as being somebody who everything is business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of makes life like a little bit more meaningless in a way. You know what I mean? Because it's like you look at a person's value as being what they mean to you in terms of like criminality and like the bottom line. Whereas like, cowboys, they're these outlaws, but there is more honor to it. So it's like the ultimate showdown between like honor and then that kind of cold-blooded mentality.
Yeah. Man, I would love to see that as a movie. You know what I mean? Like that's that, and it's one of those things that like anybody could think about it, but nobody fucking did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I've never, you know what I mean? And I'm always looking for shit like that. Like when I'm hoping I could come across things like that, because when I'm writing for myself, and that's.
Well, I think the most important thing is I need to find a voice actor who sounds a lot like Sam Elliott to do the trailer.
Okay.
I think that'll make it.
Well, I mean, there is a cat that does a lot of the Mike Baron trailers. He sounds pretty cool. He's not like 100% Elliott, but he's kind of esque. He might be able to pull it. I mean, you never know if until you ask people.
Yeah. Wow, that is a big beer glass you have there.
Yeah, it's my little at the gates beer glass.
That ain't little. That looks like something right out of Germany.
I got a boot in there too, a Das boot.
Okay.
But I don't ever use it though. You could put 9 beers in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sounds cool, man. I was wondering, on the topic, but off topic. We'll jump back. Side quest. Talking Gojira. You got a favorite metal band?
So I managed a record store for a number of years. So
nice.
My music taste is like, how people say I listen to a little bit of everything, and then you press them on it, and they're like, they usually listen to like one or two things. I actually tried to listen to everything. So
yeah.
My attention span for bands is a little bit shorter because I'm basically always looking for like the best album of every band. Favorites, I mean, Gojira is definitely up there. Between the Buried and Me is near the top.
I remember that. Yeah, my drummer back then, he loved that band.
Yeah. Protest the Hero. Trying to think what else. Oh, Misery Signals.
Oh, I remember I've heard of all those bands. I haven't heard Protest the Hero or Misery Signals, but I remember the name.
See, I really like hybrids of things, and so like I like metal, but I really like metal playing around in other like fields and genres. So I love really good like metal mixed with hardcore and a little bit of punk thrown in. So you end up having like these really hard chugging riffs, and then they'll just bust into like a really melodic section and then go right back to the chugging riffs and like those time changes and things like that. So I always got to give a shout out to Shai Hulud. They were one of the first New York hardcore bands that really did that well.
I talk to a lot of cats now. A lot of people are really digging the New York hardcore, like dudes at work and shit. I'm like, oh, okay. And to be honest, I mean, I never really got into it. I mean, the only time I really listened to it was actually I watched it on Headbangers Ball when there was that resurgence in the early aughts, back in like 2000 something, and the Jimmy Josta was, I think Rob Zombie kind of hosted a couple of them, but I was on there. I was watching that shit all the time, and I remember like Hate Breed was on there, like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hate Breed,
and then but they're fucking heavy, those bands. Hey, and for me, I'm a metal stan, so I just love all genres of metal. And I feel for every genre of music, there probably is, or there could be a metal genre for it,
Yeah.
And I'm willing to listen to it, And for me, like my favorite bands, I have my little like check boxes of things I look for in songs, and I'm like, okay, this song had all those things, and it'd be cool if they could do it, but they don't fucking have to have it in there. Like, doesn't have to have a solo, doesn't have to have a breakdown, doesn't have to have a melodic like singing part that's not a chorus, I look for all kinds of shit,
Yeah, my theory is that like metal bands get really, really good, and then their trajectory is that they decide that they want to become some great rock band, right? So, look at a band like Mastodon, right? And they come out with Leviathan, and then Blood Mountain, and then collectively they're all just like, we want to be Led Zeppelin, and so now they change and they kind of get away from metal.
They get burnt out. They just want to have those cool like songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of bands that. No, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's always either Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, or Iron Maiden. Every metal band just decides that they want to just start copying that, and I don't know. I kind of lose interest at that point.
Yeah, or maybe U2.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Pink Floyd. I get that.
With Mr. Bungle in the case of Between the Buried and Me.
Oh yeah, Mr. Bungle. Mike Patton and Mastodon. They did the soundtrack for Jonah Hex. That movie was the shortest comic book movie ever made. Packed with awesome actors and just a horrible movie. I was very let down by that. I was like, damn, the movie was like an hour and 10 minutes. Speaking of comics, you do have 2 campaigns live right now.
2 campaigns at the same time.
Yeah, brother. I was wondering, it's cool if maybe I share them. I actually have them right here, or would you like to share them?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Okay. You want to do New Orleans first? Or
yeah, sure.
Okay. Sweet. Hold on one second. Put on the elevator music. Okay. Not that I have elevator music, but maybe one day. That would be pretty fucking annoying.
Oh, do you mean the StreamYards, that background music that some people that's so...
No, I just mean like straight up like elevator music, like, or even the Jeopardy song or something. All right, here we go. Okay, you got a trailer right here. We're on Fun My Comic. Is it cool if we play the trailer? Right?
Yeah.
Dope. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and click it. Sorry. Start over. And
listening to sounds in the space that's vacant, profound and deep underground as basements, and quiet is kept. What I found is sacred. A sage said, silence is the sound of patience. Listen.
That's cool, man. The art. Who's the artist right there? Is that Kanan?
Yep, Kanan White.
I could usually spot his art, man.
Yeah,
such a good artist, man. Such a good artist. And maybe if you'd like, maybe do a little breakdown about what is Norland.
So unofficially, this book is called Listen. New Orleans is the series, but so you can see right there, you can get a copy of the first book at Barnes and Noble.
Oh hell yeah!
The publisher, basically, I'm under contract for 2 books for New Orleans. But when I started writing the second book, I looked at the first 14 pages and I was just like, wow, this is some of the best writing I've ever done. And it is kind of, it's a full mystery inside of a mystery. So what I wanted to do was to put out something. If you've never read anything I've ever written before, here's a great way, kind of a gateway into what my writing is like, what this world is like. And it's just a bite-sized little mystery. And at the very end, you're going to get, you're going to get a full mystery, but what you're also going to get is the start of the mystery for the full second book. So what you'll notice is that a lot of these, backer tiers are a lot cheaper than you would see on like a lot of other campaigns. So, there's a digital copy there for $3. You can get a physical copy with shipping. It's $9.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so, what it is basically is I want to kind of show you this world and show you what my writing is all about. And I know times are tough for people. So this is just kind of a little bite-sized introduction into, my world of storytelling.
Yeah, and I was watching. I believe you go into you talk about your book on How Did I Too, I believe on your YouTube channel, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was watching one of your videos. You got a good voice for that. Good radio voice for that. And I was just like, oh man. I mean, we'll talk about that later. But
yeah.
Kudos and congrats.
Yeah. So in this world, New Harlem is about a guy named Coleman Carmichael. He's the main character, and he's really just he's a resident of Harlem. He's a man of Harlem. He's he does teaching part-time. He does tutoring part-time. And he just has a kind of natural knack for deductive reasoning and kind of figuring things out. So in the first book, what ends up happening is he teams up with a police detective he's a rookie, right? So he's kind of inexperienced. And so a lot of the book is kind of them kind of riffing on the idea of like, they're both trying to figure this out, and they're both a little bit green. So they're kind of figuring things out together. In this book, the dynamic has kind of changed a little bit. They're almost kind of antagonizing each other a little bit. It's almost like, so they're still riffing off of each other, but
like
they're really kind of, they're kind of yanking each other's chain. Yeah. And, so, I mean, the first couple pages are right here. Just like the first book, it opens up with a whole lot of jazz. They're in a recording studio.
That's dope.
And Fat Black Max, the famous jazz pianist, just kind of keels over in the middle of the song, and they got to figure out who done it.
Oh shit, that's crazy. Who killed him? Yeah, that's like, oh man, I love these like noir, detective stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of the some of the feedback I got in the first book is that the main character, Coleman Carmichael, is kind of a jerk. Yeah. And he is, but that's very much, in the Sherlock archetype, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
snobby,
kind of
asshole.
Yeah. So when the police detective shows up on the scene here in the studio, he even comments on it. He says, this is Coleman Carmichael. He has a habit for solving murders that happen right in front of him, involving people he already knows.
This little stabby, huh? Taking some jabs. Love that cover.
Yeah, so the story for book 2 is going to be based on, there's this really famous photograph called The Most Beautiful Suicide, in which this woman jumped off of the Empire State Building and landed flat on her back on a car. Wow. But somebody took a photograph of her, and like it looks like she's just asleep. Like she just looks really angelic, and it looks like there's nothing wrong with her at all. You would have no idea that she's dead. And it won it was a really famous, I think it won a Pulitzer Prize, but that's what this, I'm kind of comfortable in history. So a lot of my writing is really heavily inspired by history. So this mystery is just going to be about kind of exploring that idea of, the falling woman and the angelic, pose on the street.
Right. Yeah, that's cool, man. And it's weird too that she would fall that far, like, and not turn into like soup. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Apparently, when I guess when the EMTs picked her up, she just fell apart immediately.
Oh,
so
wow!
She did turn to soup, but she didn't look like it in the photograph.
That's crazy, huh?
Mm.
And these are all the tiers right here. We talked about the digital, and then you have the $7 plus shipping, unsigned copy, and then we have the listen signed copy right here. This is just the second one, right?
Yep.
By itself. I'd want to get both of them personally. This is something I'd want to like listen to, like maybe put on a little jazz in the background.
Yeah.
On a fuck it with a record player, little bit of brandy or something.
This is the one right here. There isn't a picture of it on the campaign, but this the Zippo bundle. I had these gold Zippos made, and there's only 2 left on the campaign. So for $19, they look really nice too.
Nice hand rolled cigarette, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, while you're listening to it, go full noir. Yeah, it's cool, man. Digging it. This sounds like an awesome murder mystery. You guys could come pick this up right here at Fund My Comic, and it's you guys, you're fully funded, but we could definitely come over here and use some more love. So you guys come check it out.
Yeah, I'm focusing on that backer number. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the main thing.
We all want money, but like I really just wanted to kind of get something cheap for people. So I'm more interested in the 33 than anything else.
Yeah, that's the main thing, man. At the end of the day, you want the readership. You want people coming back and picking up the next adventure or story or whatnot. Your art, man. Your story, man. I agree 100%, man. I was wondering, man, you got a favorite movie?
You know what? I mentioned it before, but I think Unforgiven might be my favorite movie.
Really?
I can't think of any line of dialogue that has ever like hit harder than when Clint Eastwood says, "We all got it coming, kid." Well, like 6 words. That's all it took.
Yeah.
It didn't hit much harder than that.
Straight to the point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's basically kind of like all of, a lot of those bad bounty hunters that he's, just cowboys he's played,
Yeah.
Outlaws, like kind of summed up, and
kids kind crying, he never killed anybody before. He's drinking whiskey and he's like, well, I guess they had it coming, huh? He's like, we all had it coming, kid.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I love me some Westerns. I just finished watching Deadwood. I don't know if you watched that show.
Yeah, it was HBO. I don't remember how long. How many seasons did they end up getting out of that?
Only 3. Then I watched a little Shakespeare, and it's a little bit of swearing. Ian McShane, great show. Then they made a movie like a few years back, but it almost felt like a murder mystery kind of, but family reunion type episode. But I don't know, didn't really. It was just like kind of meh for me.
Have you seen the show? I think I'm really more of a TV guy than a movie guy, but I've been pumping it up so much lately. But Mr. In Between. No. Is that a new show or it's been around? 2 seasons on FX. It was made in Australia. The star of the show is also the writer and the director, and he hasn't been in anything else. Right?
It's pretty awesome.
Before or since. But yeah, he plays this. The Mr. In Between refers to, he's doing some gangster shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's also he's also a dad. So he's kind of, the Mr. In Between refers to him never really settling into either role.
I see.
But I got to spoil the ending of the show for you. It was only 2 seasons, but the show ends and he's kind of in retirement and he's a taxi driver and he picks up these 2 young guys and things are just kind of off, right? And it's like a dark and rainy night.
Right.
And they keep telling him to like keep going further down the road. And he keeps saying like, no, this is as far as I'm going. He's like, no, just around the corner. And finally, like one of the young guys turns to the guy in the back and he says, you know, it's a dark night. I reckon somebody might die out here tonight. And the main character looks at the guy across from him, and then he looks slowly into the back seat at the other guy. And then he smiles, this really creepy smile. And then he just turns to look right at the viewer, like through the camera. and then it just cuts to black. And it's like,
yeah, let's say, then it ends, right?
Yeah.
That's
and holy crap, man. It was like, he looked at the one guy because they didn't know who they were messing with.
Right.
And then he looked at the viewer because we know exactly who they're messing with. You know what I mean? Like, it was perfect. It was like 2 seasons, perfect ending, and I'm out.
Yeah. Like, I don't really think like shows need to go more than 3 seasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, unless it's, I mean, it depends. You know, I mean, maybe it's like a comic book character, like Daredevil. I thought Daredevil was it's like one of the best shows. I really liked Dexter. But that show went on forever. That went nine seasons. That was a good one. I don't know if you saw the New Blood. But I guess they're gonna be blowing that up pretty big. You weren't a big fan of Dexter?
God. No, I mean the first couple of seasons, yeah, but like that is like the worst finale.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
One of the worst. Yeah, that was bad.
But it picks up the new one, New Blood. It picks up 10 years later, and basically, well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's cool. It's got Clancy Brown in this new season. It's in I think it's in Alaska. It's in Alaska, or like it's in the snow. But I watched that one. It was cool. But I guess they're gonna bring back. They're gonna do a prequel, prequel season, I guess, or show with Michael C. Hall. Yeah, man, there was another show called Longmire I really liked. It's kind of soapy, but it's you ever heard of Longmire?
Mm-mm.
Longmire was this I guess it was a book series about Walter Longmire, and he is a Wyoming sheriff that's trying to solve his wife's murder, and he's up for rehire, but there's this new young sheriff that's trying to take his position, and Longmire, Walter, he's just a drunk, and he instead of riding a Bronco, he drives a Bronco.
Okay.
He's a cop, and it's played by one of the agents from the Matrix movies, this Australian actor, but he just, he's like, I'm Longmire, I only drink Rainier beer. And like, he's just, I don't know. It's a really cool modern Western that was before Yellowstone. Lou Diamond Phillips is in there. He's a Native American, or Indian, however. And he has like a bar, and I don't want to spoil. He becomes a vigilante on the reservation, and every week there's a villain of the week episode. But the whole the whole main arc is him trying to find out who murdered his wife. And there's a bunch of different like the gangsters in there, the Native Americans that run the casinos. It's fucking dope, dude. So it's definitely a modern Western, and I really like the show. They did about 6 seasons. And there's a couple cats in there that kind of went off and did more movies and more shows. It was cool seeing Lou Diamond Phillips in there too, from back in the day.
See, I say that shows shouldn't go on for too long, but then I really like Doctor Who, and that's been on TV for like 60 years.
That's what I'm talking. Like, it just depends. Some things can kind of go on, but I think most things, 3 seasons. Well, 3 is my favorite number. I think 3 is like that sweet spot. You know what I mean? But right now you're on number 2 of How to Die.
Yeah.
I was wondering maybe we could share that now.
Sure.
Does that sound good? Okay. Here we go. Elevator music. I really love the whole concept of this man. It's cool if I play the trailer for this.
Yeah.
Sweet. that's cool. Oh, more. Hell yeah. Nice. So for people that don't know about the universe of How to Die, do you think you could give us a little quick rundown on that?
Sure. So How to Die is a world where superpowers are just starting to develop, right? Nobody has them. So they're kind of like coming into fruition, but there are rules, okay? The first rule is you can only develop a superpower if you are being confronted by death, right?
Love that. That's so fucking brilliant. Yeah.
And it's not something you can, simulate or replicate. It has to be real. It has to be absolutely real. You are about to die. The other rule is you have to have suffered immensely. You have to absorb all this pain and trial and tribulation, because that's what life is, right? It's these endless hurdles and trials. And if everything has been too easy for you, you haven't summoned the fortitude to rise to this moment. So what it creates is a world where, the best and the brightest are not the ones getting these superpowers. It's the people that are just low, hanging from the last rung of the ladder. So this book, How to Die 2, is introducing a new character into the fray. Her name is Madame Gray. She is a homeless schizophrenic. So with schizophrenia, if you happen to not know, what it is it's basically your brain is misinterpreting reality. So if you've ever seen like a homeless person wearing like a hoodie and a jacket and it's 100 degrees out, it's because even things like cold or hot, they can't interpret. So the wire, everything's misfiring. So when that moment comes for her, she is able to kind of defeat death by taking that ailment in life and turning it into a weapon. So now she is somebody who can take the ability to interpret reality and use that against other people. So what you see when you look at her is how she wants to be perceived. And then on the cover, the two fingers there are kind of poking through that reality and through, that tear, you can see what she actually looks like, which is a monster.
That's amazing, man. I really think that that's cool too, because like for the people that have suffered, that unlocks something in them. You know what I mean? That triggers something probably on like a genomic level, or a microscopic level, however you want to put it. Or I mean, there's possible ways you could look at it like that, but it just definitely unlocks something primal in there. Something shifts. Right. And
then once we have all of the toys emptied out of the box, it creates a dynamic where it's like, who's going to be good if everybody is bad? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And there's just like, it's just a killer concept. And I really think that, like, from that being from the power to be unlocked from when you're about to die, for me, that kind of makes sense. Like your body has to be tested, and it's dormant in you. You know what I mean? Until it basically has to come out until it knows it's going to die. Basically, whatever the power is in you knows it's going to die because you're about to die. So it unveils itself. I just think that's pretty fucking awesome. I think it's brilliant. I'm really digging the art right here. I love the, basically we spoke of earlier. You could see her underlying true self as she's swiping by.
Yeah, so these two pages are actually, they're sequential. And so it's really an introduction to her showing you her world. So the very next page where she's underwater or walking underwater, that's kind of like, it's kind of a metaphor for the schizophrenia, right? Because you're walking through this world and you're just not feeling as connected to it. So it's kind of like you're walking on the bottom of the ocean.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense because you're just so far off from it.
Yeah, and then you see the water recedes, and it's back to reality.
Oh, that's cool. I love the art too. Really cool. Good colors. Looks like you blurred out a spoiler there, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little dumpster loving.
You got to. And this cat right here, man, this guy's pretty fucking metal. He had a really cool concept as well. Do you want to go into him a little bit? I believe.
Yeah. So that is the Black Ice. A lot of his story is kind of split between the first book and this book, but basically he is, like I kind of said before, I'm all about like competing philosophies.
Yeah, definitely.
He was raised by a serial killer who kind of instilled in him the philosophy that mankind is going to succumb to the weak. And so their job as what they call hunters is basically to go out and kill off, the people that are going to end up dragging humanity down.
That's right.
So they literally go out and just hunt homeless people.
Yeah.
And then he kind of, in his journey, he kind of takes it further where he kind of sees, well, once he's confronted death and he becomes this monster, now he wants to replicate that in other people. So if he can just continue killing, he can continue finding others like him that are able to. So he's really like the catalyst for all of the superpowers.
He's such like you can make a movie just about him almost, dude. Like a fucking straight up horror movie. You know what I mean? Like, man, like you have some really good concepts, Raiden.
Thank you.
I'm really loving, like I could tell you really did a lot of thought, you really put a lot of thought into your books, man. People say it, I say it all the time. This would be a cool fucking movie, but dude, these I could totally see this as a movie or even a TV show, and oh man, so awesome. And then right here you got a Dean James's homage to one of my favorite comic books of all time, The Max.
Yeah, the Black Ice is basically a hybrid of the Max, and I don't know if you ever played, fighting games in the 90s and 2000s, but
definitely
my favorite game was Killer Instinct.
Oh yeah,
and
Fulgore?
No, Glacius.
Glacius. Okay.
So the way he's able to kind of like melt and then come out of a puddle,
out of
because
the ground.
he has both shape shifting, but also he can basically change the density of his matter. So he can make his cells be as dense as like a dying neutron star. And so he has both the flexibility, but also like he can just make a weapon. So kind of like Spawn.
Oh, okay. Just like the density is very heavy.
Yeah.
I have a character kind of like that, but not really. Butch Cleaver, that's my comic. His character, he has the power to control bone on a molecular level, but he can't really fuck with the density too much. It can't get that heavy. His bones are kind of hollow. But that's cool, man. That's fucking awesome. He's very, very powerful. And from the looks of the trailer, because I'm not going to reveal what hasn't been already revealed, looks like we're going to have a superhero in there. That I had not watched the trailer because I had looked at some of the stuff of this before the show prior, and wow, that's like what you're laying the groundwork for something big like this, man. This is a really cool way to do it, man. It really makes it a paramount cornerstone, really strong.
Yeah, it's what I'm going for is kind of a rock paper scissors dynamic where the Black Ice seems really powerful, but if you take, what you can describe as just like brutality and strength and flexibility and put it next to psychic abilities, and then the third character, Bishop, his ability basically, because when before he confronted death, he was procrastinating. That was his big, downfall, was he just couldn't seem to get anything going in life, no matter how much time he had. Yeah. So his ability that he gained was the ability to control time. It really is like I'm starting with just 3 people that have like the powers of like gods.
That's dope. 3 is a solid number, man. And that's that's my favorite new number. It's just so perfect. Like I try to like when I'm drawing, when I'm writing, like just I don't know, man. It's just a good number. It looks good, feels good.
Well, I started off with a chess metaphor because it's Bishop White and the Black Ice, and now Madame Gray. So it started off as a chess metaphor, but now since there's a third one in there, I'm not really sure where that's going yet.
It's funny too with chess, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny how you put down your piece, you know what I mean? And like, there's no bullshit. Like you have like someone like will just put down a piece and you're just like, oh damn, you're confronted and like you don't know what to do. You know what I mean? You have to decide right then and there, and it's like they catch you off guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with my brother-in-law about that the other day. Yeah, man.
I used to play poker, so like, and I played poker. Yeah. I played poker professionally, like for a couple of years. I basically played until it was illegal to play on the internet.
Really?
So you would think that like chess would be right up my alley. Yeah. I played a ton of chess since I was a kid. I was ass. I was it was just too much for me.
Yeah, I've never played chess in my life. I've just talked about it a lot. But I do know like poker I played a couple times. And I've played just like maybe twice. But I've watched my buddy play. He's really good. And it's like you don't really play chess, you play people.
Yeah.
You play to their emotions and you play to their tells, and I mean, yeah, we hear this all the time. But yeah, you play the person. It's fucking crazy. And I watched him play. He said, "Give me $20. Give me about 2 to 4 hours, and I'm gonna turn your 20 into $40 and watch what I do." And I said, "Okay." He's still with them in the casino, and he's like, "Watch, everybody's gonna get real fucking mad, and we're gonna leave after that." And he played, and then he kind of started a conversation, and people were talking and like having a good time, and then he just kind of started taking some money, and he gave me the $40, and they were like, "Oh, where are you going? Oh, sit back down." And I'm like, "Oh." And then we got up and left, and it's crazy, but it's cool, man, because you could really, kind of figure out sometimes how people think a little bit, the psychology behind it's very interesting to me. But like you said, again, you're playing with that third dynamic of iconoclast for your story, right?
Yeah.
And is that the superhero possibly that we saw in the trailer?
Yeah, that scene actually, it kind of hints at, because his ability is it's a little bit subtextual. Mm-hmm. That's one of the clues as to what his ability is, because he's in the middle of a fight scene and then he's wearing his regular clothes, and then the next moment he's changed into the superhero outfit. Yeah. And then in the next panel he's back in his regular clothes. So the Black Ice is really trying to figure out like what powers do you have actually, because it's kind of hard to tell. Like, do you have speed, because he wounds him and then he kind of, heals himself, but everything kind of relates back to time. You know what I mean?
Traveling time, Yeah,
if you can control time, you can control a lot of things. So for example, right. He cuts his arm off and he literally just kind of puts it back and heals it, but really all he did is he just kind of manipulated time around his arm. You know what I mean? Right. So he took it back to when the arm was attached. And so again, it's like those kind of godlike powers that all relate to like really simple concepts, like pain manifesting as strength, or insanity manifesting as a psychic.
Yeah, and I really love too, like, because I forgot who I was listening to. They were saying one day, I work out in the gym every day, and like I don't fucking work out. I haven't worked out in 20 years. But I work every day, blue collar shit. And the gentleman I was listening to on like a podcast or whatnot, he was saying that our human bodies are really strong. We're made to be put through shit and to overcome like those things. So we could grow and become stronger. And that to me, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like the human body is pretty strong, and we are supposed to be put through shit. And I was thinking about that right now, like as you're talking about your story, you know what I mean? As people are pushed to the edge, you know, that's when things are triggered, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, and now I have a boring office job, and I just make I'll go outside and just run.
Yeah,
I try to run like 3 to 4 times a week, no matter the heat index, just because it's just like, it's like a primal need to push yourself.
Yeah, and you have to shock yourself too and put yourself into shit. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, and that's like what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of it does coincide with your story with how to die. You know, yeah, man, that you got to do that, man. Absolutely. I guess we can go over some of the tiers right now.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. So.
I know, man. Kickstarter, it is weird. Like how they have it. It feels like your campaign page is like a mile long.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, have you ever thought about maybe bringing this one over to Fund My Comic?
I'm probably going to once the campaign is over, just because I can tell that there's a little bit of a hesitance from people to, like I've had actually people on my mailing list email me and like, are you gonna? I don't really do Kickstarter. Are you gonna do it somewhere else? And then so.
Like me, yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I want to grab readers, so I'm basically here to like scoop up what I can from Kickstarter and hopefully, kind of bring them into the fold. But yeah, this is definitely going up on Fund My Comic.
And it's like, if you could, you'd have this in fucking stores too, in local comic book stores, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my buddy Brian Christgau. He lives where comic books were created in a certain spot of New York. You know what I mean? And a lot of people that were at the beginning of what was now the comic, or still is, remains of the comic book industry. It's in this part of New York. He goes into LCSs and there's like no comic books in there, man. You know what I mean? And so like, how do we get our books out there, man? We have to go on Kickstarter. We got to go on Indiegogo. We got to go on Fund My Comic. We got to try to get them in stores. We got to fucking get our books out there, man. Not everybody is going to go to Fund My Comic or Indiegogo or Kickstarter, you know?
Yeah.
And most of the audience, like the comic book reading audience, they still go read comics at the comic book stores for what is left in America, you know?
And, I don't buy anything new, but I still go there.
I went there yesterday. I took my kids there. I hadn't been in a while because I'm going to probably do a signing for my BUTCH CLEAVER book. I'm shutting down my campaign. But people are going in there. I went in there at about 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, and there's people still coming in there. There's people still buying comics. And it's a little tougher now. It's a little harder now. The industry is kind of slowing down a little bit, but people are still going to the store, the LCSs. The LCSs are kind of shutting down a little bit, but they're always going to be around, I think. Just not as much. It's going to be a little smaller, hopefully.
Yeah, I just like, picking through boxes and just seeing what grabs me. I got this a couple weeks ago. Well, it's not going to show up because of my camera, but I picked a couple of these up. It's called The Lonesome Hunters.
Oh, nice.
From Dark Horse. And yeah, kind of grabbed me. It was a damn good story.
Oh, if you want, I could try to share it again. Lonesome Hunters. Oh, cool. Yeah, there's so many good comics out there right now, man. Like just you don't really see. Like there's for me personally, like there's a lot of crap out there. Like,
sure.
But then there's like some really cool stuff that you overlook. There always will be. You're always gonna find stuff there's so much. There's just so much. There's no way you're gonna fucking find everything from like the dawn of comics until now. You know what I mean? And you're gonna find little diamonds like plucking out. And I dive up in there too, man. In the
it bums me out what gets overlooked.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, man, like we really do got to get our books everywhere. I'm hoping that like. I think that the comic book industry, it's gonna kind of hit like it's starting to hit that low point a little bit, and I think it's gonna slowly start to pick up again. I think people are gonna get tired of them. They're getting tired of the movies. The movies are kind of getting a little stale, and then it's gonna get grounded back to where it once was. Like or maybe not once where it was, but somewhere maybe in the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
But maybe a little more, because it's now there's no going back from there. People know what comics are. So I think the stores are still going to be around, but probably in another, 10 years or so, it's going to get built back up again. And people are going to develop a real fondness for comic books, I think. And the medium,
Yeah.
And manga too. I mean, people call them comic book, people don't, but they're very similar. And comic stores sell them, so definitely, man, you gotta get your books out there. I think wherever you can. It's all about expanding the readership. The readers are not going to come looking for you.
I'll try anything once. And a couple months ago, I actually went to my local library and set up a kind of meet and greet and signing.
Right.
And 2 people showed up. And I'm not saying I'm a big deal or anything, but it's a published book. It's in Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
And 2 old people showed up. They came over to my table.
Yeah.
They saw that it was a graphic novel, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't know it was a comic book." And then they just ate the free cookies.
Yeah, it's weird. Like some people just, they don't respect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It almost like they weren't educated on the point that it's a different medium. Not that the point that it's not fucking cheesy and about superheroes all the time.
Yeah,
but it's a different medium altogether. It's different from reading a pulp, reading a prose, playing a video game, watching a movie, playing chess, like playing a board game. They're all different mediums. They're all going to have different feels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reading a pulp, you get 3 drawings, 5 drawings per, 30 pages, so your brain has to populate that many more images. A novel, your brain has to populate all the images. A comic book, you're going to have to populate the in-between images. And, you're going to have an unlimited budget and see these really cool artistic points of view as well. And a lot of people just weren't really educated enough on that, I think, as a species, dude. Like, for the most part,
If anybody needs a good, comics education, make sure to check out Aldis's channel, Aldis and the Farm.
Yeah. Aldis, the homie, man. Yeah.
Check out The Gutter. We do it every Friday night. This week we're doing an episode on the death of Captain Marvel.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I love Aldis, man. He was on here with Steve Dye, like one of the first ones, man. So they came around and yeah, man.
Steve did the pre-press for Noirlum, the first book, and I had never had anybody do pre-press on any of my books before.
Yeah.
So when he did it, and I was like, "Oh, this is why people do that."
Right. Yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah. No, he does a great job. Definitely. And if you guys need pre-press, go to the @RealSteve Dye. He's the man. And I know a couple of people that go to him for that.
It's kind of like with I finally got on board with having Eric Weathers do my letters.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
When he sent me over a couple pages, I was like, "Oh, now I get it."
He's the man. We're gonna be having Eric on here in a couple weeks too.
Battle Brick Road too.
I would love to go to Eric. I just can't afford him right now. One day I will though. Hopefully, God willing. Yeah, he's the letterman, the weatherman, letterman.
Yeah.
I want to go over some of these tiers.
Oh yeah.
My bad. So at the top we got the digital How to Die 2 for $8. Can't beat that. And then right here we have the physical copy for $15.
Physical and the digital.
Oh, both of them. Anywhere in the world. Awesome. 32 pages. And you get the catch up right there bundle, digital. So, people in Australia, you guys want to pick up like a really fucking awesome read that's going to be worth your time and your money. Pick that up. I guarantee you're going to enjoy yourself. You got the How to Die 2 print bundle right there. So this right here comes with the physical copy of How to Die 2 and the print of the Max homage by Dean James. Loving Dean Jane's art, man. He's killing
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And right here we got the catch-up bundle. This is the one I highly recommend, the physical copies. There's nothing like having physical media in your hands. If you can, pick this up, guys. Pick. These are floppies, I take it, right?
Yeah. Well, they're 32 pages each.
Oh, okay. Saddle Stitch comics. You guys got to get these. Got to get them. That's the one I would recommend. How Did I 2, both covers right there. That's cool right there. You guys, get on the ground floor of this franchise right now while it's starting out in its infancy stage. And right there, How Did I Catch Up print bundle. You get all the cool prints right there. And you got the Eudaimonia comics digital library. Is that pronunciation correct?
Oh, it's such an old word. I don't think there technically is a correct pronunciation.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, I should probably explain that. Eudaimonia is basically... it's a word from Aristotelian philosophy, but it basically means the good life. So I talked before about how life is a series of trials and challenges. If you are able to find meaning in spite of that, you found your eudaimonia.
Yeah, you said it pretty much, man. For me, I tell my kids, man, life it's hard, and it's a lot of just crap, you know what I mean? And it's your job to go out of your way to find something, to motivate you and feel good about each day. You know what I mean? Because it's just life. You're just going to be dealing with shit most of your life. So you could look at it like it's shit, or, be happy you're alive. You're working, you have your family, you have your job, you have your friends. You get to create and play and but you're going to have the bad stuff in there, It's almost like euphoric in a way, or euthanasia, like with the way it's spelled in the beginning, the EU. Eudaimonia. I like that. Sounds pretty metal. How to Die, all covers, $40. There you go. Grab them all. For the collectors out there. How Did I 2 character sketch. Okay. $60. There you go. There's only only 5 left. So you guys get in there and get those. Catch-up bundle plus the sketch. 75 bones. You guys are mixing out. Or you can get right here the actual original art by Dean James for $500. Yeah. That would be awesome right there too. You guys put that on the, above the fireplace. That would look pretty cool.
Yeah, that comes with everything too. So you get all the covers and.
Oh, cool. That's awesome, man. That's what I did on one of my campaigns. And yeah, man, that's always cool. I think when you do that, if you're gonna throw in a big tier like that, throw as much in there as you can.
Yeah. That's
awesome, and that's it right there. So right now, folks, we're sitting at 577. We got 18 backers, so we still got a little bit of time left. You guys can come on down, pick this book up. You're gonna love it. Get it on the ground floor. This franchise is building. It's going to get bigger and bigger, and I know you guys are going to really love it. So come and back this book. And yeah, man, that's awesome. Have you ever checked out Invincible, or Mark Millar's Superior, or what's his Nemesis?
I need to read more of it. I'm a little familiar with Invincible. Yeah. Man, I kind of have a theory that entire world was sold on its color scheme. You know what I mean? That yellow and blue just pops.
It pops like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I never read the books or nothing like that. I just looked at some of the panels and I love the art. Growing up, I never read any of it, and I was just like, there's just too many fucking issues. I'm not going to do it. But there's some cool characters and some really badass fights, and I love this artist. Then the TV show came out. I really enjoyed it. He took a lot of different archetype characters that we have from Marvel and DC, and you're like, oh, that's that guy, and that's that guy, and that's blatantly that guy. But the story was really cool, man. I really liked it a lot on Prime. I still haven't read the books. I'll pick them up one day. But
Yeah,
I actually really enjoyed it.
J.K.
Man.
Simmons, man.
Oh yeah, he killed it, dude. And then you're like, oh, that's Hellboy and Etrigan put together, and
Yeah.
that's Superman, and that's But yeah, I really love that. I really love people taking the archetype Superman genre. I'm just gonna say Superman. I'm not gonna say superhero. I'm gonna say Superman, and kind of spinning it, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to do, and a lot of people do it, and a lot of people don't do it that good. But I liked Invincible. I liked Superior by Mark Millar. I read that one like 10 years ago. I don't know if you ever, and I think Lionel Yu illustrates it. That was fucking dope. It was like Shazam and Superman put together, but kind of but just turned up. I have Nemesis. I don't know if you've read that one. I got that one in a bargain bin for $5 a hardback.
Wow.
And that
isn't there
cool.
something about how that whole world is going to come together?
Yeah,
now?
It's called Big Game. It's all connected. I wish I could get all the books right now. There's so many books I want to back. I just can't get right now.
Yeah.
But I really like Mark Millar, and my buddy Miguel got me on the Millar back in the day, and that was one of the books. Kick-Ass was cool, but my point being, I'm talking about a lot of these archetypes that we have, and trying to maybe do a new take on them that isn't kind of meh or fucking just not as good. I think you're doing it right now with How to Die Too, man. And for our viewers, I think if they were to get on board with this, man, I think it's something really special. At least that's the way I see it. It's really cool, and it's exciting to me. I too one day have a story I'd like to tell with my Dark Superman, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's
the deconstruction era.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's just like it's so overdone and not done that good, in my opinion, most of the time.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I think it's easy. It's easy to find those really bad examples, and they kind of they make the whole concept look bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what if Superman were evil? Like, no, that's not everything is going to be the Watchmen.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a lot of people do it, and I don't know, man. It's just not there. Oh,
you need to have something to say, basically.
The Boys is really fucking good too. I like The Boys.
Oh yeah,
and that's another one and I like the show and the first book. I haven't seen the cartoon yet, but they did it. Garth Ennis did a great job too. So that's where the comic book genre really started. You know what I mean? Like the American superhero comic, started with that. So I always, I have. Going back to like the cowboys and the gangsters, that's that simple idea, but no one ever thinks about it. I have something like that for my superhero book too. Hopefully it'll work out one day.
Well, don't tell me. Don't tell anybody.
I don't tell nobody. I told one person, and he's no longer with us, and he told me it didn't make no fucking sense. But I'm gonna do it anyway. And he was a genius too. But I'm just like, fuck. But I got to do it. But yeah, man. Well, we're coming up on just about an hour. I got to ask you though, what's your favorite beer? Do you drink?
You know what? I stopped, good. It wasn't. No. I mean, it wasn't like I have a problem or anything. I just when the world kind of shut down and everybody went inside for a couple of years, I realized I don't know. I fell out of the habit, but when I did drink, it was now. First off, I have terrible taste in beer. So
no, that's fine. I always ask people like if they have a beer, like a whiskey, or vodka, or gin, tequila, rum. Wine.
It was a beer called if we're going with liquor, I got to go with a bourbon called Blanton's.
Blanton's, okay.
It's the one that's got the metal horse on the cover, and man, I think it's expensive. I think the last time I had it, it was a toast with my old man at my wedding. That was the last time I had it. Nice. And so I'm okay with preserving that memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, definitely, man. Definitely. And I have a lot of people that come on here that don't even drink.
If I had to pick a beer, I think it was called Sweet Baby Jesus, and it was a chocolate peanut butter stout.
Oh, that sounds good. I like those. Those are like, for me, that'd be like a dessert beer, and I'd
And I'd
probably try to read maybe like some lyrics to an album or like half a comic and pass out and go to sleep.
Get one of those and, have a brownie and you'll be good.
Exactly, man. Exactly. When we had a Travis Perrick on here, he was saying that it'll fund my comic, but yeah, it'll probably fund on Kickstarter too. I think once people know about it, it's just hard, people learning about it. But yeah, Fund My Comic is an awesome.
Hey, half the backers on Kickstarter are new, people I've never seen before. So I'm making a little bit of headway.
Exactly. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be going over to Fund My Comic for my next book. Can't wait. Luke's awesome dude. Luke Stone's running it over there.
I'm eating crow. I didn't think it would work at all, and I'm happy to have been proven wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. We had Luke on here. He was on one of the first shows. Awesome dude. But yeah, man, definitely check out his stuff, hybrids, and go check out Norleem and How to Die 2. I have actually I have How to Die 2 at the top. So if you guys want to go, I'll take you right to the site so you can back it. And Raiden, yeah, thanks for coming on, man. It was awesome talking with you, man. Very very fun conversations.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
And where can people find you at, man?
Raiden Radio on YouTube. I have uploads every Friday. I usually do the video essays on whatever I feel like talking about that week. I am going to start live streaming soon. I have a show I'm calling Off the Books where I talk to comic book creators, but the only rule is we're not talking about comic books. We have to talk about like those other things that you find interesting, whatever your passions are aside from comic books, basically.
Yeah, because you're off the books.
You're off the books.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I'd love to have you on here again too. Looks like you're going to have a bunch of different projects coming out and products possibly. But yeah, love to have you on again, man. It was fun.
Cool, man. Appreciate it.
And so yeah, go check out Raiden Radio, guys. You're gonna love that channel. I've checked out a couple of his videos. They're really cool. Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Really appreciate it. Always remember to be bold, be brave, and roll the bones to know your role. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.